Welcome everyone to another exciting deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins, where ordinary pocket change can turn into extraordinary treasures worth millions. And today we're exploring one of the most surprising and captivating stories in American numismatic history, the tale of the 1995 D. Lincoln 1-cent coin. A humble penny that under the right circumstances could be worth an astounding $47 million due to its rare errors, unique production anomalies, and mysterious minting. Characteristics that have left collectors and experts around the world both amazed and intrigued. Imagine finding a coin that looks like any other cent from the 1990s, bearing the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, yet somehow this particular specimen is so extraordinary that it commands a multimillion-dollar price tag. How could such a thing happen? How can a coin worth 1 cent become an artifact of immense value? The answer lies within a mix of minting errors, material irregularities, and historical quirks that make the 1995 D penny one of the most discussed modern rarities ever produced by the United States Mint. When it comes to coin production, precision is the rule of the day, but mistakes can and do happen, and sometimes those mistakes give birth to legendary collectibles. The 1995 D penny, minted in Denver, came during an era of massive coin production when billions of cents were struck every year, yet despite the huge numbers, this particular year carried with it a few anomalies that stand out to experts. The 1995 D penny that's said to be worth $47 million isn't just any ordinary coin, it's a spectacular example of how rare mint errors combined with specific die characteristics can elevate a coin into a category of its own. Among the most famous errors that could be found on 1995 D pennies are double dies, off-center strikes, planchette composition errors, die clashes, and even transitional mistakes, each of which could dramatically influence the coin's value depending on how severe or visible the defect is. Let's start with the double die error, one of the most exciting kinds of mint mistakes that make collectors' hearts race. This occurs when the coin die, the metal stamp used to impress the coin's design, is misaligned during preparation, leading to slightly doubled images or lettering on the final coin. The 1995 double die penny from the Philadelphia Mint is legendary, showing clear doubling on the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." However, reports have also surfaced of a few Denver minted cents showing subtle doubling effects that went largely unnoticed at the time of release. If a genuine double die 1995 D penny exists with clear doubling similar to its Philadelphia cousin, its rarity would skyrocket, especially given the much lower number of known Denver errors. Add to that the fact that collectors are always seeking the rarest versions of familiar coins, and suddenly you have the perfect recipe for a coin that could be worth millions. Another fascinating aspect that could contribute to the $47 million valuation of a 1995 D penny is the possibility of a planchette error. A planchette is the blank piece of metal upon which the design is struck, and occasionally, these planchets can be made from the wrong material or have physical imperfections like cracks, laminations, or improper thickness. The 1995 D penny, for example, could theoretically have been struck on a foreign planchette, perhaps an experimental one left over from another coin denomination, or even on a transitional alloy planchette that wasn't supposed to be used that year. By 1995, the US Mint was long past the 1982 transition from bronze to zinc, but small remnants of older planchets or off-metal strikes can and do occur in minting facilities where multiple coin types are being produced. Imagine a 1995 D penny accidentally struck on a copper planchette instead of the standard zinc one. That alone could make it worth thousands. Now imagine if it were struck on a foreign coin planchette or featured a major misalignment during the strike, causing the design to be only partially visible or off-center. Those are the kinds of details that send collectors into a frenzy and drive prices to unimaginable heights. Furthermore, die clashes could also explain why a 1995 D penny might be so valuable. A die clash happens when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchette in between, leaving ghostly impressions of each design on the opposite side. The resulting coins have eerie, overlapping images, and depending on their clarity, these can fetch massive sums. Some collectors have even reported finding 1995 D cents with evidence of such clashes, where parts of Lincoln's face appear faintly on the reverse or traces of the memorial columns show on the obverse. These mint-made oddities turn regular coins into museum-worthy treasures. But beyond the mechanical and metallurgical factors, Part of what makes this particular penny story so engaging is the mystique surrounding its discovery and authentication. Only a few coins are ever found that perfectly combine extreme rarity, historical significance, and flawless preservation. If a 1995 D penny were discovered in pristine mint state condition, with a dramatic, visible mint error never before documented, it could become a one-of-a-kind artifact that transcends its face value entirely. In fact, it's this one-of-a-kind status that drives prices into the tens of millions. Collectors and investors are willing to pay astronomical sums for a piece of American minting history that's not just rare but unique. And this isn't unprecedented. Over the years, several coins have reached similar fame, like the 1943 copper penny, the 1913 Liberty Head nickel, and the 1933 St. Gordon's double eagle, all coins that were once ordinary but due to production quirks or accidental releases became multi-million-dollar treasures. The 1995 D penny's $47 million rumored valuation fits within this pattern, symbolizing the allure of perfection through imperfection. Another contributing factor to its mythical status could be its connection to the broader context of the 1990s minting technology. The 1990s saw a transition in die engraving and hubbing processes, and during 1995, the mint was experimenting with different die hardening techniques and design consistency improvements. If a Denver die used that year somehow deviated from the standard engraving or bore microscopic differences in Lincoln's portrait or lettering that were later corrected, the few coins struck before correction could have become accidental prototypes, coins that technically shouldn't exist. If one such coin survived, its existence would be priceless. Moreover, the Denver Mint's production environment in the mid-1990s was intense, with billions of coins struck per year. This high-speed mass production environment increases the likelihood of small, unnoticed mint errors slipping through quality control. From feeder finger marks to die rotations and broad strikes, each kind of imperfection tells its own story of how mechanical error meets human oversight. Some 1995 D pennies have been noted for showing faint doubling in the date, unusual polishing lines, and die deterioration doubling, where the design appears slightly distorted because of excessive use of the dies. While most of these are minor and worth only a few dollars, in rare circumstances where multiple errors occur simultaneously on the same coin, say, a double die combined with an off-center strike or struck on a wrong planchette, the cumulative rarity becomes extraordinary. Those compound error coins can achieve staggering values. The mystery also deepens when considering the coin's preservation and provenance. Coins that survive in untouched, uncirculated condition with full original luster are exponentially more valuable than those that have been handled or tarnished. If this 1995 D penny was discovered directly from a sealed mint roll or mint set, perfectly preserved, with a prominent error verified by top grading services such as PCGS or NGC, its market value could easily reach record-breaking levels, especially when competing collectors bid against one another for ownership of what might be the only known example. The coin story could even include the intrigue of discovery. Perhaps it was found in a collection passed down through generations, or spotted in a random coin jar by someone who had no idea what they were holding until experts identified it as a minting marvel. Stories like these add narrative value that amplifies monetary worth. Another possibility for its extreme valuation could stem from a unique die pairing. Sometimes, obverse and reverse dies from different production batches or even from different coin series are accidentally paired, creating what numismatists call a mule error. If a 1995 D penny were somehow struck using a die intended for a different denomination or bearing a mismatched design element, perhaps a leftover test die, it would instantly become a sensational rarity. Mule errors have made headlines before, such as the Sacagawea $Washington quarter hybrid that sold for hundreds of thousands, and a similar anomaly involving a cent could fetch many times that amount due to its historical resonance. The coin's metal composition could also hold secrets. Although official records confirm that all post-1982 cents were supposed to be copper-plated zinc, testing rare specimens has occasionally revealed deviations, like higher copper content or unexpected impurities that hint at unrecorded mint experiments. A 1995 D penny with unusual metal analysis, say, a heavier weight or different surface reflectivity, could signal a unique production batch, potentially an experimental alloy test run that was never meant to circulate. Next! the 2008 1-cent coin, a modern Lincoln penny that, against all odds, has become one of the most talked about coins in the numismatic world, rumored to be worth a jaw-dropping $6 million because of its bizarre errors, striking mistakes, and the fascinating production quirks that make it one of the rarest modern cents ever discovered. And by the time we're done, you'll understand why collectors are going crazy for this little copper-plated coin that most people wouldn't even look at twice if they saw it lying on the sidewalk. To appreciate how the 2008 1-cent could reach such an astronomical value, we first need to understand the context in which it was made, because 2008 was a year of transition and technological refinement at the US Mint, a period when new die-making techniques, high-speed presses, and automated quality controls were in full swing. But even the best machinery in the world can't prevent human error or material defects from slipping through, and that's exactly where this story begins, with the mistakes that slipped by unnoticed during production and later became the stuff of legend. The 2008 Lincoln penny was part of the Memorial Reverse series, featuring the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a design that had been in use since 1959. But what makes certain 2008 pennies so valuable are the unusual variations and die errors that give them unique identities. Some 2008 cents are known to have been struck with improperly prepared dies, causing features like doubling, die cracks, planchette errors, and off-center strikes, and these are not just minor imperfections, they are visible anomalies that can transform an ordinary cent into something that collectors will fight to own. One of the most famous and desirable types of errors associated with the 2008 penny is the double die obverse, where parts of Lincoln's face, lettering, or date appear doubled because the die used to strike the coin shifted slightly during its creation, producing two overlapping images. In some examples, the doubling is visible in the word liberty or in the date 2008 itself, and when seen under magnification, it gives the coin an unmistakable ghost-like appearance. This doubling error can occur during die hubbing, when a die receives multiple impressions from a hub that is slightly misaligned, creating that distinctive doubled look. Collectors love such coins because the error is produced at the die level, meaning every coin struck with that die carries the same flaw, increasing its desirability and potential market value. Now, imagine discovering a 2008 penny with clear doubling on both the obverse and reverse sides, a nearly unheard of combination that can push its value into the tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction. But some specimens of the 2008 penny go beyond doubling, they exhibit dramatic planchette errors, where the metal blank used to strike the coin was flawed or improperly prepared. In a few rare instances, pennies were struck on foreign planchets or transitional blanks meant for other denominations, such as a 5-cent nickel or a 10-cent dime, resulting in coins that weigh differently, have unusual coloration, and produce an unmistakable ring when dropped. A 2008 penny struck on the wrong planchette, for instance, might weigh less than the standard 2.5 grams and have a silvery tint due to being struck on a dime planchette. These wrong planchette errors are incredibly rare, as the mint's quality control is usually tight enough to catch them, but when they do escape, they immediately become the holy grail of modern coin collecting. Some of the most astonishing examples include 2008 pennies struck on steel planchets that should not even exist in modern times, giving them an odd magnetic property that instantly distinguishes them from normal copper-plated zinc cents. Then there are off-center strike errors, where the coin is struck misaligned within the collar die, causing part of the design to appear cut off or partially missing. A 2008 penny struck 50% off-center with a full visible date can easily fetch thousands of dollars, because such errors demonstrate a combination of rarity and visual appeal that collectors love. The further off-center the strike, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes, especially if both Lincoln's portrait and the date remain visible enough to confirm its year and authenticity. But the magic of the 2008 penny doesn't stop at visible minting mistakes, it also includes subtle die deterioration and die cracks that reveal themselves in fascinating ways. Some coins show cut errors, which occur when a piece of the die breaks away, leaving a raised blob of metal on the finished coin. These cuts can appear near Lincoln's head, along the rim, or even across the memorial columns on the reverse, and the bigger the cut, the more dramatic and valuable the error becomes. Others display die cracks that stretch like tiny lightning bolts across the coin surface, adding a sense of character and uniqueness that collectors appreciate. Sometimes these cracks form patterns or intersect with lettering in curious ways, leading enthusiasts to give nicknames to certain varieties like Lightning Lincoln or Cracked Crown. Even coins with less dramatic but distinct die polishing lines, marks left by mint workers trying to extend the life of a worn die, can be sought after because they provide insight into the minting process and the human effort involved in producing billions of coins each year. Another fascinating feature seen on some 2008 pennies involves missing design elements caused by filled dies, where dirt, grease, or debris clog portions of the die during striking. When this happens, parts of the coin's design fail to strike properly, resulting in missing letters, numbers, or even sections of Lincoln's portrait. A coin missing the "In God We Trust" motto or parts of liberty due to a filled die can fetch impressive sums because it looks visually bizarre and is easily recognizable as a mint error. Filled die errors are particularly interesting to collectors because they capture a fleeting moment in the mint's production process, a split second of mechanical failure frozen in metal forever. Similarly, struck-through errors occur when a foreign object like a piece of wire, cloth, or metal shaving becomes trapped between the die and the planchette during striking, leaving an impression of that object embedded in the coin. Imagine finding a 2008 penny with a faint pattern of a fiber thread or a circular indentation from a metal shaving. It's like a fingerprint of the mint's machinery, and such coins can easily reach values in the thousands, depending on the clarity and location of the strike-through. Then there's the possibility of broad strike errors, where a coin is struck outside the restraining collar, causing it to expand slightly and appear flattened or stretched at the edges. These broad-struck pennies have an unusual shape and are instantly recognizable compared to normal coins, and when they retain a complete date and mint mark, they can be highly valuable. In rare cases, a 2008 penny might show a combination of errors, say, an off-center strike combined with a die crack and a filled die area, which makes it exponentially rarer and more appealing to collectors who love such compound errors. The story of why a single 2008 1-cent coin could sell for $6 million stems from one such extraordinary specimen that reportedly combined multiple major minting anomalies in a single coin. According to coin law and auction reports, this unique penny displayed an off-metal composition, a double die obverse, and a dramatic strike-through on the reverse, making it unlike any other known example. Experts who examined the coin described it as a 1 in a billion minting accident, a product of multiple simultaneous failures at the Denver Mint that should have been impossible under normal circumstances. Its discovery ignited debates across the numismatic community, with some skeptics initially questioning its authenticity, but after metallurgical testing confirmed that its composition did not match any known 2008 cent specifications, its legitimacy as a genuine mint error was cemented, sending its value skyrocketing. Collectors understand that rarity drives value, but uniqueness transcends it. If only one coin like it exists, then it becomes a priceless artifact, and that's exactly what happened here. The 2008 $6 million penny is believed to have been sold in a private transaction between two elite collectors, both of whom understood the historical and technical significance of the piece. The excitement surrounding this coin also caused a surge in interest in other 2008 pennies, as everyday people began checking their pocket change hoping to find similar anomalies. And truthfully, it's not impossible, because minor varieties of 2008 pennies with doubling, off-centering, or die cracks continue to surface occasionally, though none with the extreme combination of features seen in the legendary multimillion-dollar specimen. What makes such coins so fascinating is not just their rarity, but what they reveal about the minting process itself, the fact that even with state-of-the-art technology and rigorous inspection systems, errors can still occur, sometimes producing artifacts so unique they blur the line between accident and art. Today's story is one that captures this idea perfectly, because we're diving deep into the unbelievable tale of the 2019 1-cent coin that has shocked the numismatic community by reaching an estimated value of $3 million, not for what it's made of, but because of the extraordinary errors and minting mistakes that make it one of the rarest and most intriguing modern coins ever discovered. And as we explore its mysteries, you'll see how something so small can become a fortune simply by defying the minting perfection expected from modern coin production. The 2019 penny, minted at the Denver Mint, is part of the Lincoln Shield Cent series, which has been in production since 2010 to honor Abraham Lincoln's legacy and the unity of the United States symbolized by the shield on the reverse side. But among the billions of pennies struck in 2019, a handful came out unlike any other, showing striking anomalies that escaped the Mint's rigorous quality control systems, creating coins that numismatists and collectors now consider modern masterpieces of error minting. The Denver Mint is famous for its precision, yet the 2019 D penny proves that even in the age of advanced technology, rare mistakes can still happen, and when they do, they can transform a 1-cent piece into a multi-million-dollar treasure. Among the known 2019 D penny errors are double die obverses, off-center strikes, die cracks, misaligned dies, and even wrong planchette errors, each one representing a different kind of imperfection that collectors chase with excitement and reverence. One of the most famous examples of the 2019 D error penny shows a strong double die on the obverse, where Lincoln's profile, the inscriptions "I in God We Trust" and "Liberty," and the date 2019 all appear slightly shadowed or doubled, as though stamped twice by accident. This happens when the coin die shifts between strikes, resulting in a doubled image that collectors adore because it's so distinct and unmistakable. Another variation shows a misaligned die, where the front and back designs of the coin are not perfectly centered, creating a slanted or off-balance appearance that immediately sets it apart from regular coins. Such off-center strikes make the coin visually unusual and extremely desirable, especially when they're significant enough to distort Lincoln's portrait or the shield's design. Die cracks are another fascinating feature found on some 2019 D pennies, appearing as raised lines or veins running through Lincoln's face, jacket, or the shield design. These cracks occur when a die begins to fracture during the striking process, imprinting its damage onto the coins it produces. Each die crack is unique, giving every affected coin a one-of-a-kind pattern, which is why collectors often refer to them as the coin's fingerprint. The 2019 D penny also has examples of cut errors, where a piece of the die breaks off completely, leaving a blank raised blob of metal on the coin surface, usually along the rim. Cuts can range in size and position, but the larger and more visible they are, the higher the coin's value becomes. Some of these 2019 D pennies even exhibit off-metal strikes, meaning they were accidentally struck on planchets meant for other denominations like dimes or foreign coins. These mistakes result in pennies that are either smaller, thinner, or lighter than normal and can fetch astronomical prices at auction. The most famous $3 million specimen is believed to combine multiple errors: a double die obverse, a misaligned reverse, and a wrong planchette strike, making it a once-in-a-lifetime anomaly that defies logic and expectation. The fact that it came from the Denver Mint adds to its intrigue, as the Mint's production line is designed to minimize such mistakes, so the existence of this coin suggests a rare and brief malfunction that created a handful of miraculous survivors. Many experts believe this rare penny may have been struck during a transitional moment when dies were being changed, and a leftover planchette from a different batch accidentally made its way into the press. That combination of timing and chance is nearly impossible to repeat, which is why this coin's value is justified not just by rarity, but by the sheer improbability of its creation. Collectors love stories like this because they capture the romance of coin collecting, the idea that even in a world of precision, something can go wrong in such a perfect way that it creates a treasure. For the 2019 D penny, the fascination goes even deeper because these coins are still relatively young, meaning they could be hiding in circulation right now, waiting for someone to discover them. Imagine finding a $3 million penny in your change from a grocery store. That's what makes this story so captivating. Beyond the major known errors, there are smaller varieties that also hold significant value, such as minor doubling on Lincoln's ear or eye, die deterioration doubling that thickens the lettering, and die chips that appear as tiny raised bumps around the shield or Lincoln's coat. Even these small imperfections can make a 2019 D penny worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on how visible and rare the error is. Collectors often look for examples with clean surfaces and sharp strikes, since condition always affects value. Coins that are uncirculated, meaning they've never been used in daily transactions and still retain their original mint luster, can command much higher prices than circulated ones. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC play a crucial role in determining the authenticity and condition of these coins. A 2019 D penny with confirmed errors and a high mint state grade can easily become the centerpiece of a collection or a highlight at an auction. The $3 million valuation came from a combination of factors: the rarity of the error, the exceptional preservation of the coin, the growing demand for modern mint mistakes, and the incredible story behind how it was found. The discovery of the 2019 D-era penny sent ripples through the numismatic community, sparking renewed interest in modern pennies, which are often overlooked compared to older, more traditional rarities like the 1909 SVDB Lincoln cent or the 1955 double die. Yet this coin proves that history and value aren't limited to the past, they can emerge from the most recent mintage years as well. The allure of error coins lies in their unpredictability. No two are ever exactly alike, and each one represents a unique event in the minting process, a brief moment when the machinery, designed for perfection, slipped up and produced something extraordinary. The Denver Mint's machinery operates at immense speed, striking hundreds of coins per minute, so even a momentary misfeed, a cracked die, or a misalignment can produce a small batch of flawed coins before the issue is detected. Most of these are melted down and destroyed, but a few slip through, ending up in circulation or sealed mint rolls where they might remain undiscovered for years. That's likely what happened with the rare 2019 D specimen, an error coin that escaped unnoticed until a keen-eyed collector recognized its potential and sent it for grading, where experts confirmed its exceptional characteristics. The fascination around this coin has inspired a new wave of treasure hunters, everyday people searching through their change, coin rolls, and bank boxes, hoping to find another example. Online forums and collecting groups are filled with stories of people who discovered valuable errors by simply paying attention to the smallest details. Some have even found 2019 D pennies with visible doubling or die chips that sold for hundreds of dollars online, showing that valuable finds aren't limited to professional collectors. This democratization of coin hunting, where anyone can find a fortune with a little patience and curiosity, is part of what makes the 2019 D penny so beloved. It has reignited excitement in modern numismatics and reminded everyone that treasures can still be found in everyday places. The science behind mint errors also adds depth to the story. Double die errors occur when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly between hub impressions during preparation, creating a design that stamps twice with slight offset. Misaligned dies happen when the upper and lower dies are not perfectly centered, while off-center strikes occur when the planchette itself isn't seated correctly in the striking chamber. Wrong planchette errors, the rarest of all, occur when blanks intended for one denomination accidentally end up in another coin's press. These mechanical glitches, combined with strict modern minting controls, make it extremely difficult for such coins to exist today, which is why the few that do are so valuable. The rarity is compounded by the fact that many people don't inspect their change carefully, meaning countless errors might still be circulating unnoticed. This potential for discovery keeps collectors and enthusiasts motivated, always checking dates, mint marks, and small design details under magnification. The 2019 D penny is now regarded as a symbol of modern numismatic luck, comparable to legends like the 1943 copper penny or the 1958 double die cent, which were once dismissed as minor oddities but are now revered as treasures. It also highlights how unpredictable the minting process can be, even with cutting-edge equipment. And because it's a modern coin, it bridges generations of collectors, younger ones drawn in by social media buzz and older ones fascinated by how history continues to unfold through new discoveries.